Okay, so I'm gonna start off by telling you guys a little secret. I am ridiculously obsessed with unicorns, and it all started at a young age. From My Little Pony parties to my Lisa Frank magical school supplies and accessories. Hope I'm not telling my age here. I was always blown away with magical things that can make people dream of more, and that just made them happy. So what's so special about unicorns? Well, unicorns symbolize so many amazing things. They're the most wondrous of the mythical creatures, and they symbolize magic, miracles, and enchantment. But they are also extremely rare. So as I talk to you today about entrepreneurship and my journey, I want you to think of a unicorn, but this time you're the unicorn. In fact, we're all unicorns. But for the next couple of minutes, I want you to reimagine yourself as the magical, rare, powerful, and enchanting creation that you are. And that because of this magic that you possess, you're able to help and heal people. And you're able to not only make your dreams come true, but others too. Currently, people know me as an entrepreneur, a woman who owns her own business, as a thriving marketing and PR professional, a professional model, a journalist, an author, a speaker, a professor, a stylist, and so much more. However, it didn't always start off for me this way because I didn't know or own up to my own magic. In fact, I didn't even know what I wanted to be. Let's start back to college. I started off trying to major in computer science because I thought I could make a lot of money. But then I quickly changed my major my sophomore year to criminal justice because, for one, that's where all of the hot basketball players were, and because it seemed really cool to learn about law enforcement and to become a cop. But in college, when I thought I wanted to become a cop, I had a professor that told me I actually needed to go to law school. So after college, I went to law school and became an attorney shortly thereafter. So I'm gonna stop here by saying to you guys that it is a-okay if you're not sure right now where you wanna go or who exactly you want to be. Sometimes you have to take twists and turns in the roads to figure it all out. And then one day, just like for me, it'll all come together. So no stress, okay? So here's where the unicorn magic starts coming in. All right, follow me here. As my first year as an attorney, I began having these dreams, y'all. And the dreams were coming every single night. I was styling these women, they were wearing these fabulous designer clothes, and I was surrounded by purses and shoes. Like, who wouldn't want to be surrounded by purses and shoes? Lots of them. I couldn't really pinpoint why I was having the dreams. It was just surreal. I thought it was probably because I watched too much TV, too many fashion shows, or maybe because I shopped way too much. And I still do to this day, but I digress. The dreams wouldn't go away. So I decided to do something with it and ended up starting my own little personal shopping business for women just like me. I organized their closets, I shopped for them, and best of all, I spent their money, not mine. And as I did this, I was still full-time practicing law as an attorney. But immediately after I started my personal shopping business, I started blogging, which turned into calls to go on TV for fashion segments, to going to New York Fashion Week and seeing all of the top runway shows. I styled music videos, and I did so much more. It truly felt like a dream. And from there, the blogging even blew up. I interviewed the top fashion designers in the world. I, Leah, hosted fashion shows for Neiman Marcus, department stores, and more. Like, what is this life? And then 3 years into my hobby, you guys, I made it on Vogue.com. I was just before then reading all of their magazines, and here I was on their website. So it was at this point that I knew there was something special about what I was doing, that I had a gift, and that I had to lean and run with it. But right now, let's just press pause, okay? I want you to think long and hard. And be honest, okay? Is there a dream that you have that won't let you sleep at night? Do you see yourself in places only people can only imagine in their dreams? I want you to ask yourself, and this is just between you and yourself, what does that look like? Who do you see yourself being? Don't think about what your mama tells you. Don't think about what your daddy tells you, your brother, your sister. Who do you see yourself being? Now, I want you to find the time after this, and I want you to write that vision down. This is a part of that unicorn magic I'm gonna keep talking about. Each and every one of us has a journey. It is so unique, and it's so magical that we're supposed to take, that as soon as you just get rid of all the voices in your head and you say yes to it, just like I did, things will start falling into place because that's where you're supposed to be. So, what is that thing that makes you happy when you think about doing it? Think about that. I want you to write that down. Okay, keep that in mind. So let's get back to my life as a fashionista, okay? I became this attorney. Remember, I'm working full time, going to court, and then I turned myself into this fashionista. But eventually I had to quit my job as an attorney so that I could have the fashion life of my dreams. I was ready to be my own boss. You wouldn't believe the number of people who told me I was gonna fail. They looked at me crazy because I went to law school just to quit and go into fashion. Or the number of people who didn't understand what I was doing, so they didn't support me being my own boss. Do you know what? I didn't care. I knew I had that unicorn magic and I had to make it happen. So shortly after leaving my job as an attorney, I turned my love for fashion and clothes, the labels, the designers, the purses, into something that we call Think3 Media today, which is a marketing and PR agency. We began by helping fashion brands with their social media, their photography, their videography, and their blogs, all the things I learned how to do. So today, in this moment, we've grown to not only representing fashion companies, but now we've blossomed. We work with restaurants, business leaders, nonprofits, athletes, actors, you name it, we do it. We've won countless awards. I've won 2 Emmys. We've helped over 400 business owners solve their problems, and we work with people from all over the United States. And it all came from that one dream. You guys get where I'm going with this? Okay? You have that same power too. All you have to do is just lean in and tap into it. It really is that simple. So, by now you should have already thought about what things make you happy, or the things that you just can't stop thinking, or in my case, dreaming about. The next thing you have to do is think of 3 things. 1, I want you to think of that thing that makes me happy. Does my idea or that thing that I love to do, does it solve a problem? Could it solve the world's problem, your city's problem, a person's problem? If so, what problem does it solve? For instance, my business solved a problem because there were so many fashion businesses who didn't even know how to do their own social media. So we did it for them and they paid us for it. 2, I want you to think, what are my special gifts that are unique to me that I can weave into what I do every single day? That could be anything. Are you one of those girls that get in trouble in class because you talk too much? Hey, that was me. And now I talk for a living and I get paid for it. So you see where I'm going with that. That's a gift. But try to think about those things that people always ask you of. What are those things? What are those unique gifts? That's number 2. And then number 3, when we think about maybe starting a business or having a brand, 3 is the most important. How can you take your dream? How can you take your gifts? And how can you make money off of this? If you can simply answer these 3 questions, and of course, there's more to it, then you are well on your way to starting your own business and, hey girl, being your own boss. But look, the journey doesn't stop there. Have you ever heard of the phrase of having multiple sources or streams of income? Now I'm gonna get into a little bit of a money conversation, which that's what everybody wants to hear, right? So if you really look up entrepreneurship and having your own business, most successful entrepreneurs and even those millionaires you read about claim that they have 7 streams of income. So not gonna really get into all of that today, but I'll let you guys take a look at some of mine. So not only is Think3 Media one source of income for me, but I'm also a professional model, had my hair put in for y'all today. I'm also an author. I have 2 best-selling books, and therefore a book is what? It's a product. So now I have something I can sell. That makes me money. I've also created courses in marketing and PR. That's more income. That's another product I can sell. That's a product that I can make money while I sleep. Now, wouldn't you like something like that? Have you ever followed those pesky little fashion influencers online? Well, they get paid for advertising their favorite brands or products by posting it on their social media. Hey, I'm a fashion influencer. That's how this whole thing got started. That's a stream of income for me, and I still make money that way as well. As a speaker, I get paid. That's another stream of income. I think you guys can kind of see where I'm going with this. I've invested in stocks. That's another stream of income when they make money. And the list goes on and on and on. So after you figure out your business or your brand using those 3 questions I told you to do, this will be your umbrella. And then all of those streams of income will hopefully fall underneath and help you to create the business or the success that you dream of. But think, how can you, in all of your magic, diversify your income so that you're making streams from several sources instead of just one? And can I let you in on a little secret? All of these things that I just told you guys about that I make money from, I truly love and enjoy doing, and the same can go for you. So think of it as a faucet. If one of those 7 streams of income gets shut off, guess what? The other 6 still go. You don't have to panic because you have 6 other streams where money is still gonna come in to keep you afloat. And this is the type of mindset and the thinking that is what makes more entrepreneurs and girl bosses successful. So at the end of the day, you guys, every single one of you has the magic and the power to do exactly what I have done. I'm special, but I'm not that special because you can do it too, okay? You could take a simple dream, just like I had, and make it into a reality. People told me I wouldn't make money at what I do, but today I can proudly say I make triple the amount I made as an attorney, and I wake up every day with purpose and passion to help the people that we serve. It's been a beautiful journey, and I want the exact same for you. So as you tap into your rare gifting and the unicorn that you are, just know that you have a gift to give to this world, and they need you now more than ever. So as I close, just remember to do these things. 1, figure out what you love and what you just can't stop thinking about. 2, figure out, does it solve a problem, or how can what I love to do solve someone's problem? 3, really hone in on your gifts. 4, figure out a way to monetize it into a business. What are people willing to pay for? And 5, diversify your income. What are all those different streams or ways that you can make money doing what you love to do so that if one gets shut off, the others still keep going? We are all unicorns and we all have something to give to this world. So don't be afraid, go for it. Lean into it. And I can't wait to see what magic you all will create. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the Junior Achievement of Dallas staff. And in the words of my girl Beyonce, who doesn't even know she's my friend in my head, girls really do run the world. Thank you.
Hi, Junior Achievers. My name is Janine Moyer, and I'm glad to be here to share a little bit about myself and my professional journey with you. So I live in the Dallas area, and I've lived in Texas for about 3 years, but I'm originally from Canada, and you'll see as we go through my journey that I'm a little bit of a world traveler. So I work at Salesforce here in Dallas as a communications manager on our mergers and acquisition team, also known as M&A. As a comms manager in M&A, this means I'm responsible for developing communications, developing plans and strategies, as well as writing the content for email, Slack posts, presentations, guides, and much more for our acquired companies and colleagues. This is a really cool job because I feel like I am one of the first people our acquired colleagues encounter when they join Salesforce. Sometimes I think these employees are a little bit nervous. They have a lot of questions. So I always try to think about ways that I can make their life a little bit easier and make sure that they have the information that they need to be successful at Salesforce, which is now their new home. I also want to make them feel comfortable, so I try to communicate in a way that is lighthearted and approachable, and I want them to be able to feel that they can ask any questions and that nothing is off limits. It's a really interesting role to be in. I really love working at Salesforce. My job is really cool. I'm in communications, I love writing, but I also have a really fantastic team. I work with people who are all trying to develop the best experience for our acquired employees, and it's nice to be on a team where we're all working towards the same goal. We also make sure that we support each other and try to build strong connections with each other at work. We talk a lot about being genuine and authentic and about bringing your whole self to work. So as you move through your career, you might find that connection is a really big part of what makes your work meaningful to you. And I would encourage you to look for ways to do so at work and at school and with friends and in all areas of your life. So a bit about how I got here in Dallas and at Salesforce. When I finished high school, I knew that I wanted to be a writer, so I thought that I would go to journalism school. And I was accepted to a journalism program in Toronto, which was about a 5-hour flight from where I lived. I'll be totally transparent. I was 18. I was scared of moving so far away. So I chickened out and I went to a university in my hometown where I majored in communications. It's kind of funny though, as I went through school, that travel bug really stayed with me. And as I was completing my bachelor's degree, I applied for an exchange program to Sydney, Australia, and I ended up spending a year overseas. I went to school at Macquarie University, where I was able to continue with my studies, but I also traveled all of Australia and New Zealand during that time. That experience was totally life-changing for me. I saw the world, I made friends, but most of all, I gained a ton of confidence. It taught me that I could go out on my own, I could travel, I could go to school in a completely new place. I didn't know anyone, and that I was gonna still be okay. That experience gave me confidence to try something new, to get on that plane, to take that risk, and that I could handle big things and big changes. So when I got back, I decided that I was ready to do a master's degree. And this time I wasn't afraid. I was accepted to a Master's of Communications program in Ottawa at the University of Ottawa. It was a great program, but it was very difficult, and there were times when I didn't think that I was cut out for grad school. The material was challenging, it was much more intense than my bachelor's degree, and I found myself wondering if this was the right fit for me. I did a lot of soul searching, but that's kind of the whole point was the end point that I came to was that you have to do challenging things. This is how you grow. So I ended up changing my attitude. I spent time after class with professors to get help with the concepts that were new and difficult for me. And I organized student study groups to stay on track. It helped me build a really strong network at the University of Ottawa, made new friends, and I walked away with a really awesome experience. So when I finished my master's degree, I traveled Europe. I was definitely ready for a break. And when I got back, I was ready to dive into my career. I went to work for a telecommunications company in Toronto, and I moved from a product marketing role into what was eventually my favorite role, a customer-facing communications role, where I developed advertising and social media campaigns for our mobility customers. It was creative, and I got to experience working with an ad agency for the first time. And I was really involved with different women's networking groups, as well as participated in a lot of customer-facing events, boards, and activities. So I felt very immersed and very engaged. And I was there for almost 10 years before our family made the decision to move to Dallas, and I found my new work home and my new work family at Salesforce. So, Junior Achievers, what I'd love for you to take away from my experience and what I've learned is don't be afraid to take that big risk, to do something that pushes you a little bit outside of what you think you're capable of. Because when you take that leap, you'll realize that you've got this. You're totally capable. And the confidence that you gain will help inform decisions that will make your school life, your work life, and your personal life more exciting and bring you new challenges. Thanks so much for being here today.
My name is Amy Kennelly, and I'm an account executive here at Salesforce. So thank you for taking the time today to hear about all of our great experiences. I hope your day is going well and that everyone is excited for another school year. Just want to take the time to explain my role, background, experiences, and how did I get here. So as I mentioned, I'm an account executive here at Salesforce. Salesforce is a large technology company, and what we do is we partner with other organizations to help them find the best way to operate their business. That can be in a sales seat, that can be from a services perspective, that can be marketing, that can be a whole array of different environments. Specifically, I work within our financial services organization, and I partner with our wealth and asset managers to help them create the best experiences for their end clients. So you and I probably have a bank account, and when we go to a bank, we can use an app, or we can walk into a bank. And all of those experiences is something that Salesforce helps to partner with organizations to make sure that you as the end user get the best value possible. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I've been here for about 3 years. And how did I get here? Born and raised in New York, and neither of my parents had been to college, and neither were very familiar with what that process would be like. And I was very fortunate to have an organization. It wasn't Junior Achievement, but it was something like that to help guide me to figure out what is the best path to get to college. And it took some time. It was a brand new thing for me, but I decided to go to Boston College, which was a little out of my comfort zone, but I wanted to challenge myself. And through my time there, I was able to work within the Career Center and get an internship at Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is another large organization in the financial services world, and I started with them in 2008. Now, not sure where you stand in a history with 2008, but it was a very tumultuous time for the financial markets. And I definitely didn't feel like I made the right decision. I questioned myself constantly, but I leveraged my network. And if there's something that I would say to you all is you have your peers, you have your teachers, you have friends, you have family. Always reach out to them. Everyone is there to help make you successful. So through my time at Goldman Sachs, I worked with hedge funds and focused on continuing to grow their business and operations. What was great for me was I learned through that process how important relationships are, not just for me, but also for my career. I could not be here today without the help of others, and I felt it was my job to continue doing that in my career and also outside of my job. So in my 11 years within Goldman, I worked out of New York City, and then I had moved to San Francisco. And throughout those times, I actively volunteered for Junior Achievement in San Francisco. So came into the classrooms and taught some lessons, and that felt really satisfying to me to have that connection. I loved to travel, and my customers and clients were based all over the country. And that just gave me the ability to prepare, organize, and also experience new places. Through my time at Goldman, I really loved everything I was doing, and I had some excellent sponsors and mentors. And then life throws you a curveball. And for personal reasons, we decided to move down to Dallas, and I decided it was time to take a risk. And I'm not the most risk-taking person, but decided to look for something new, and I found Salesforce. And what really drew me to Salesforce was they have so many different resources internally and externally, but they really pride themselves on putting others first. So we have a 1-1-1 model where 1% of our proceeds go to charitable organizations, 1% of our products goes to organizations, nonprofit for free, and 1% of our time is spent working with organizations such as Junior Achievement. And that really sold me. And then throughout my interview process, I had reached out to some friends who are already at Salesforce, and they just told me their stories and their experiences. Since being here, it's truly been a dream. And, the past few years have been rough for everyone, including yourselves. And now as you're thinking about, what could be in your future, the world is your oyster. If I had any types of advice for you, I would say, always be curious. There is a never-ending amount of information available to you. And fortunately, technology has made it really easy to get so much of that information. Don't be shy to ask questions. Talk to your teachers, talk to guidance counselors, career counselors, whatever resources you might have. Take advantage of Junior Achievement. There's so many individuals who volunteer and work with the organization that want to be there to help you achieve your goals. And most importantly, have fun. Take calculated risk. We all need to do that. We all need to challenge ourselves. But at the end of the day, find what drives you and makes you passionate, and that will lead you to your success. So best of luck with everything this school year. Thanks so much for your time.
I believe bold girls can prepare for your future the moment you start trusting that inner voice that says, don't fear or doubt your abilities. You were born to do this. That voice appears when you want to run for student body president, or when you want to try out for the basketball, cheerleading, or debate team, or when you fail your first test and you allow your mind to doubt your level of intellect. That voice will define your character and it will unleash your strengths. I will never forget when I recognized my inner voice. And yes, it was as early as 5 years old when I was asked to perform a solo in Miss Cox's dance class. I didn't think that I was the best dancer in the class, nor did I think that I was the most prepared. And frankly, I wondered what my friends thought as to why I was chosen for that role. Nonetheless, I compressed those negative thoughts and I listened to the inner voice that said, you were chosen for a reason. Now it's your time to prove to yourself why, and to prove to Miss Cox and the other dancers that they can absolutely count on me to help the team shine. There are a few lessons in that moment that I carry with me throughout my life that help me judge my level of success. 1, in the midst of fear, did I lean on my strengths and execute with excellence no matter the level of the challenge? 2, did I focus on the most important thing, the mission? Not the chatter, not the doubt, not my own insecurities, but the mission. And 3, did I serve people around me and develop trusting relationships? You see, the mission, people, and excellence are 3 key critical elements that I focused on throughout my career and life. My success started with knowing my strengths. And as we walk through Strength Finder, your brain will experience aha moments that will confirm what you already know. You were born with a set of gifts that are innate. Those gifts become your strengths, and they define your leadership DNA once you invest in nurturing them. For those professionals who have accurately mapped their career, wow, I applaud them. When I think about my career mapping, I can't help but envision looking at a map. I don't know about you, but I am brilliant, but I am directionally challenged, and I cannot read a map. What I can read are the important elements of a map, like the legend and the compass, and most important, my desired location. But I would be absolutely handicapped if you asked me to map the perfect path for my career on a map. Therefore, over the last 2 decades, I focused on traveling down a path that utilized my strengths, which led to milestones that helped me gain cross-functional experience that defined who I am as a leader and exposed my purpose and the value I bring through my strengths. So here's how my career map looks. I knew education would play a role in my journey, so I'm a nerd and a student of learning. After I finished my undergrad in health service administration, I started working my first medical device company, selling radiology medical equipment and supplies in Miami, Florida. I knew I wanted to obtain an MBA, so I wrote a letter to the HR department asking them if they would help pay for my MBA. At the time, they didn't have a formal student reimbursement program, but that wasn't going to stop me from asking. So my request was approved, and I quickly started the MBA program at Florida International University while making a name for myself as a sales rep by winning contests and volunteering to serve on special committees. Well, these efforts were noticed by our chief marketing officer, who then tapped me to take my first stretch role at the age of 24 as the director of private label equipment line. This position allowed me to sit at the tables with people who were shareholders and decision makers, and started the trend of me trusting my strengths and accepting stretch roles. From that point forward, I don't remember ever accepting a role that I actually thought I was truly prepared for, but I knew my strengths would help me succeed. So I spent the next 15 years of my corporate career with Fortune 500 companies, accepting roles as product development manager, director of integrated marketing communications, director of marketing, director of sales training and development, regional sales director, director of national accounts, and being right-sized twice before I leaped into the world of being an entrepreneur. When we started Power Hands and the Power to Give Foundation in 2014, the road was one that I would have never imagined traveling. Leaving corporate America and building my own company was never on the career map as a destination. I now realize that all the stretch roles and the strengths I developed as a child, a young adult, and in my 16 years of corporate experience, it prepared me for this leadership role and helped me see my strengths as a visionary and an implementer, which allowed me to perform multiple roles and develop a team to offset my development areas. Thinking about my career as a map helped me realize that there are multiple paths that lead to my destination and that I've traveled in a direction of my fears. Every role that I accepted in sales, marketing, operations, and now as the CEO of my own company, I traveled a path that allowed me to collect experiences, to collect wisdom, and to collect lessons from my failures, and to collect my strengths and gain confidence to trust my inner voice. The most important thing you can do as a bold girl is be intentional about the transferable skills you are gaining in every aspect of your life. I believe people underestimate how you gain transferable skills. Let's look at the definition in the simplest form. Transferable skills are strengths that can be applied to any industry or job. So whether you're applying for a job as a VP of sales for the Mavericks, CMO for AT&T, district attorney, or chief of surgery of Methodist Hospital, there are specific fundamental skills that you can possess that will enable you to perform each of those jobs to a certain degree. For example, I have an MBA, I have a Wharton Marketing Leadership degree, and I worked in the medical device industry for over 16 years. Now, I'm the CEO of Power Hands, a global athletic training and rehabilitation product tech company that enhances human performance. I didn't exactly get formal education for this position, nor can I pinpoint a former role that exactly fit this position. When I examine my career path, I can directly correlate transferable skills that have prepared me for being a CEO, such as business strategy, leadership, integrated marketing and communications, operational excellence, and product management. These are skills that I've been developing my entire life, starting when I joined my Brownies and Girl Scout troop, or when I helped lead the youth ministry at my hometown church, or when I became president of a young women's organization in high school. As a bold girl, you have many transferable skills that you can list on your resume now. Think about your roles at home, at school, in the community, with your friends, and start developing your list of skills that you can apply to a company or your own business that allows you to serve the mission, develop trusting relationships with people, and create excellence. At some point, you will be asked, what would you tell your younger self? When I'm asked that question, my answer is pretty easy. Danielle, know your worth and lean fearlessly into your gifts. I wish I had embraced those words at your age. You have the opportunity to boldly embrace your gifts and cause a heart shift in the statistics as we see them today. You will plan to be the greatest women leaders of any generation. You will recognize the 37 women CEOs of Fortune 500 companies and the 12 million women-owned small businesses have paved the way for you to accelerate your talent. You will plan to negotiate an equitable salary because you know your worth. And you will plan to develop mentors and advisors well before you start your career. You will also plan a career path that ignites a fire within you that burns with so much purpose. No obstacle could ever extinguish it. Bold girls, plan your legacy with purpose. Lead with your strengths and make us proud. All right, let's get to work.
and wanted to spend some time today sharing my story about my career and my journey to where I am today. So I currently work for a company called Salesforce. Salesforce is a large technology company that produces cloud-based software that other companies use to run their businesses. So companies use Salesforce to run their marketing, their sales, their retail environments, and also their customer support environments. Salesforce is global. We have offices all over the world and about 75,000 employees. We're growing, and it's a really exciting time to be at Salesforce. In my current role, I'm Vice President of Business Technology in a team that leads mergers and acquisitions. So mergers and acquisitions is a specialized part of the company where Salesforce buys another company, and my team gets involved in helping those employees become part of Salesforce so they can continue to do their jobs and we can continue growing together. And on my team, I have about 40 people underneath me in various roles, from program management to budgeting to reporting and analytics, communications, and training, to make sure that we are covering all of the things that are needed to make our company successful. And it's a really exciting space. We buy different size companies, we work with different types of companies, and so I'm getting to see different environments and different operations and meeting a lot of people along the way. I think networking is super important in your job, and going out and making those connections, whether it's in your day-to-day work or just reaching out to meet other people in your company, is really important as a component of your job in the future. And certainly as mine, as a vice president, the expectations of me as a leader have grown. I have more responsibility underneath me, and I want to make sure that I continue to grow and learn as a leader, even though I'm in that role, that I manage a lot of different people underneath me. I have worked in technology companies for most of my career. Prior to Salesforce, I worked for Dell, the computer maker, and I held a variety of different roles for them in their marketing department and in their mergers and acquisitions department. One of my favorite roles with them, I managed our sponsorships. So this is in the marketing space, and I ran programs with Formula One. We sponsored one of the Formula One teams, and I was able to travel around the world to some of the Grand Prix races and host some of our biggest customers to help them understand the technology solutions that Dell has to offer and how those solutions help the racing team be better and how they could also help the customer be better. And it was a really fun time. I got to travel to a bunch of different countries because of that. And travel is a passion of mine. So this was a good blending of something that I enjoy on a personal level and something that I could do in my job. I also think it's important in your jobs to be connected to the community. So one of the things that I really enjoy about working at Salesforce is that Salesforce encourages its employees to spend time in their local communities and to do volunteer time. It's part of our culture, it's one of our company values, and it's what makes me proud to work for a company like Salesforce. I think we've, as a company, volunteered over 7 million hours in local communities around the world, and we all actively try to participate in community initiatives, economic initiatives, to make sure that we're supporting our local communities and economies. And I participate in that and give back in several different ways. As I mentioned, sit on the board for Junior Achievement. I also am an executive sponsor of our Texas Women's Network at Salesforce, which is really focused on outreach in the community to help foster equity and inclusion for women and also within Salesforce to continue to push forward in breaking down those glass ceilings and making sure that we have as many women leaders in roles as we do our male counterparts. And we're creating equal opportunities for women to thrive in the workplace. And I'm very excited to be part of those initiatives. How did I get to Salesforce and how did my career really start? I was very active in high school. I went to a small school in a very small town called Utopia, Texas, which allowed me to participate in a lot of extracurricular activities, from sports to 4-H to UIL academics, and take some advanced classes as well. And so this helped me start to see where I thought I might want to take my career and what I wanted to study at university. And I wanted to go far away from my small little town when I first started looking at school, but I ultimately fell in love with Trinity University, which is in San Antonio, Texas. I really liked the curriculum it offered. It had a different series of studies that you could follow in your first few years before you really decided what your major was going to be. And I liked that opportunity to explore a little bit and take classes in areas that I had never had the opportunity to experience before. And I ended up graduating from Trinity University with a business degree and a minor in communications. I've always liked to write, and so I wanted to combine the two skills of writing and telling stories, but doing that in a business context. I knew I didn't really want to go into being a journalist or a newspaper writer or an anchor on TV, but I did know I wanted to keep writing and communications close to me in my career. I started a few jobs early on, really liked the marketing space at a company that I was working for. And then I decided to go back and get my master's in business administration, or my MBA. And I got that from the University of Texas in San Antonio. And that really gave me a new foundation, new experiences, challenging classes and topics to really explore what part of business that I wanted to push my career forward in. And so from there, that's where I started making the move into Dell, where I spent 15 years of my career. As I mentioned, I came from a small town, but I enjoy travel, and I've been fortunate enough to see the world both through career opportunities, but also through my personal travels. And so with my job, I've lived in Denver, Colorado, Austin, Texas, Singapore, Frankfurt, Germany, Atlanta, Georgia, and now I'm based in Dallas, Texas. And in my personal travels and work travels, I've been to 42 countries around the world. And that makes me really excited to know that I've had this fortunate opportunity to experience different cultures, different ways of life, different viewpoints. And I think that's really important in building who you become as a person and as a leader in your job as well. And so I would encourage you guys to take opportunities to see new things in whatever form that becomes available to you in the United States or outside of the United States, in Texas or outside of Texas. When I think about advice that I would give to young people or to people trying to make a career change that have already been working for some time, I really think about a couple of things. The first one is to know what you're passionate about, but also what you're good at. And those two things might not always be the same thing, but those are the right places to start in finding a career path that's going to make you happy and make you enjoy showing up for work every day. Sometimes they are the same thing, and that's maybe the best of both worlds. But I think it's good to know that they can be different and that you can choose opportunities in your career for different reasons. And the other thing I always tell people, and this gets back to some comments I made about networking and making connections, is it's really important to be open to new opportunities. Some of my best career changes and growth opportunities have come from me letting those people around me know what I really wanted to do today in my career, but also what I wanted to do next. And that helped them understand where I wanted to go, and they could be looking out for those types of opportunities for me as well. So I sort of just expanded my reach by being open about what it was that I wanted to do or what experiences that I was looking for. So I encourage all of you to do that. This, will let you find the right thing to help you show up as your best self to work every day, to know what your values are, to know what your limits are, and to really work in a space that is meaningful to you personally and professionally. I do have a favorite quote that I use with my team often. It's sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. And I think that it's okay to know that we may not always get things right. We may do something that comes up a little short and isn't necessarily seen as taking the win, but that's okay because we learn from those things. And those are the experiences that make us better. We do have to take some risks now and again to find new ways of doing things. And I like to say, if you're trying something new to help out your team, to help out your company, and it doesn't quite meet the mark, you've learned a lot and you'll probably exceed the mark the next time. And so don't be afraid of those little setbacks because they're great learning opportunities. And I think being a avid learner throughout your school life and your career life is the secret to success. Learning new tricks along the way. We always keep learning. I am a vice president and I learn something new every day. And so I'm just excited to be able to share my story with you all. I look forward to hearing your stories one day on a future Career Speaker Series.
Everyone, my name is Lisa Morton and I live in the Dallas area. I am married and I have one daughter who is 10 years old. She just started the 5th grade. So I am excited to be talking to you today about my life as an American businesswoman, my background, and what I do every day with my career. So first of all, where did I grow up? Well, I live here in Dallas today, but I grew up a bit up the road in Oklahoma. So went to high school, college, the whole nine in Oklahoma. I went to college at Oklahoma State University and received an undergraduate degree in accounting. And you might say, why accounting? My dad always told me accounting is the language of business. So when you want to talk business, you need to know the numbers and understand the finance behind your operations. So that might be one little tip, to always make sure you have some level of understanding to the finance behind your business. You can bring in specialists, but you want to make sure you have an understanding as well. After getting my degree in accounting, I realized that was something I really didn't want to do. So I took the opportunity to go forward and get an advanced degree in management information systems, kind of the early precursor to computer science. And so I really enjoyed getting a master's and learning about how business was starting to pivot to being more system-based and really leveraging information out of those systems to make business decisions. And so that's how I started my career, was in that space. Kind of married my background between finance and systems to get a traditional kind of role as a financial analyst in the Federal Reserve Bank system. And if you're not familiar with the Federal Reserve Bank, just pull out any bill you might have in your wallet, $1, a $5, a $10. There's a little circle with a letter on it, and that will let you know which Federal Reserve Bank was accountable for that money. The Federal Reserve Bank is a big part of the overall financial system in the United States. So in that role, it was really a lot of fun. I got to learn how we destroy money, how we manage transfers between banks and that whole financial system. This was years ago, and a lot of that's changed, but that was my first opportunity out of college. I then found an opportunity with a software company. And so taking that kind of finance background and that systems background and moving into a software company where I was implementing software for accounting systems. And so that was something I did for several years. I was able to travel, be part of big projects, see lots of cities, and really understand how different types of businesses use the software for the company that I worked for. I worked for a company called SAP at the time. And so learning how to implement the system differently in each company was very interesting to me. Made lots of friends that I still have to this day, because that was just kind of a fun time in my career. I took that knowledge of the software and then applied it to a large consumer packaged goods company. I believe they're a sponsor of Junior Achievement, and it was PepsiCo. So I was here in the Dallas area working for PepsiCo for several years, where I was implementing that software for the company. And large companies have big, long projects to do these sorts of implementations, where you really go around and say, okay, for this business unit, what problems are you trying to solve? How can we help you? How can we make it easier for you with this software? So I did that for several years. I also had the opportunity to work in one of our manufacturing plants. And so as you go to a large company like a PepsiCo, you may come in the door to do one job, but as you build your career, there'll be other types of jobs that you can do, and you'll be able to add more tools to your toolkit. And that's something I would also encourage you to do, is to not feel like you have to stay in your box. Sometimes that box can be more of a springboard to another opportunity, and it will really help you round out your career, and you'll get to learn new things that you didn't even know you would enjoy. So the big thing for me when I was at PepsiCo was going from one software, only this type of focus on finance, to more broader, how does IT support an organization? How does IT support a manufacturing facility? And what are some of the problems that you would have to solve there that might be different from when I was in consulting or in a finance function? Broadening my career then gave me that opportunity to move to a large Japanese automaker here in Dallas, to work in their organization to build out kind of their cloud-based systems. And so typically a lot of the implementations I had done on the finance side were older, right? Older kind of infrastructure. The underlying support for those systems was not modern technology. And so by the time I moved to Toyota, it was time to move to the cloud. And many of you in your lifetime don't know a life without the cloud. But it's new for a lot of older organizations, larger organizations that have already invested a lot of time and money in building out all these systems. How do they then simplify that and move to like a cloud-based systems where someone else does a lot of the management of that infrastructure and really enables you just to take advantage of the capability very quickly, get new updates all the time. So that was something that I got to add to my toolkit as well. Having done finance, having done more of a broader IT structure, now taking that and moving it to the cloud. Great opportunity. And finally, now I'm at Salesforce, and I'm so excited to be at Salesforce because it's really bringing it all together for me. The finance piece, the technology piece, the cloud piece. Obviously, Salesforce is a company that was born in the cloud. But more specifically, what at this stage in my career I'm so proud of is that I work for a company with really strong values. And so when you look at our Salesforce values of trust is our number one value. Customer success. If our customers aren't successful, we can't be successful. Innovation. Always bringing new ideas to the market. Equality. It's very important to have equality, a diverse set of leaders, a diverse set of voices to really drive the success of our company. And finally, and probably most important to y'all, sustainability. How do we leave this world better than we found it? How do we make sure that whatever our footprint is, we erase that and enable a more sustainable environment for the future? Working for a company that has those values is something I am so very excited about. So if I would give you guys any advice on how to build your career as future business people in America, I would say to one, be prepared. As I mentioned, I did go to college. I did get the advanced degree. It's important that you prepare yourself by building the knowledge you need in whatever form that looks like, and then also practicing that, kind of doing your homework, so that whenever problems you're trying to solve, you've got some tools to do it, and the practice makes you feel more confident. Confidence not only in delivering your day job today, but maybe taking that leap, building that courage to try something new. As you heard from my experience, I worked multiple companies over the course of my career, but each one built on the last one, and each one was a stretch where I was able to get new tools in my toolkit and really continue to learn. Look at your learning doesn't stop when you get out of school. So look at your career as a lifelong learning opportunity, and I think you will be well positioned for all the success you can handle.